It is round 3 of the regular National Finals Rodeo. It is day 3 of the Top 15 Challenge, and you are about to be amazingly blessed with an opportunity to learn from an incredible cowgirl and a breakaway roper. Congratulations, Reserve World Champion.
Yeah, thank you.
Woo! Wow. So we're curious, Taylor Munsell, what's your fastest breakaway time ever?
I was a 1.6 one time.
A 1.6. If you don't know breakaway roping yet, she means 1 second, 1.6 seconds. So tell us about that one.
Honestly, in those kinds of runs, there's not a lot to even tell. It just kind of all happens so fast, and everything has to be so perfect that I was riding the same little bay horse I rode at the finals, and the one most people know that I've done most of my good on is Monster. And I was riding him, and he just made it happen super fast, and luckily my rope got there.
How awesome that you credit your horse for that.
Yeah, he gets a lot of my credit, honestly. I wasn't much of a breakaway roper until I got started riding him, and that's kind of when I switched over from team roping to breakaway roping, and he was all I had. He kind of built me up from not being anybody to what I am today, and definitely offer him a lot of credit. I know my talent has helped me a bunch, but you gotta have a horse that also can get you there. I was lucky to get him the way I did.
So a lot of people dream of that horse, that monster. Okay. It's hard to know, like we pray about it, we dream about it, we see a lot of us kind of get this vicious cycle of going through a lot of horses trying to find the right fit. How did you know he was the one?
I don't know. I was so young when I got him. We got him when he was 2. And a lot of people have heard the story now, especially up to the NFR and stuff, that my dad bought him in the back alley of a horse sale for $200 when he was 2. And then he told me that you're going to want this. You're going to want this one. And I looked at him and I said, no, absolutely never. He was super thin and ugly and said no. And then he got bad enough to ride. He was so little that nobody could really ride him. And I was 12. So they were like, you get on him and see, he's supposed to be pro. And he was gentle. So I got on him and rode him around. And then I bought him for my dad that day. The first time I rode him, decided that he was mine. And he hated men, he hated everybody, but he loved me. And it was just kind of from then on, he was just, we were connected at the hip. They tried to sell him. They're like, he's not going to be anything. You need to get rid of him. We were just feeding him for this many years because he kept getting hurt. And I don't think, I got him when he was 2 and I didn't haul him until he was 9. So we had 7 years of feeding him.
Wait. What?
Yeah, we bought him when he was 2, and then he was thin. He got sick, almost died. Hung a foot in a feeder, almost cut it off. Took a year. Run the T-post up in his jaw. He was just nonstop. I wouldn't get very many rides in a row on him. And then, so my parents were sick of this, like, tired of feeding him, need to get rid of him. And then finally, when I went to college, I just kind of rode him a little bit the summer before I went to college, a couple little rodeos. And when I got to college, I just sent my good horse home. And I said, this one's going to be what I need. So I sent the good horse home, and I only had him to college and made myself haul him and riding. And I think I broke a barrier every rodeo I rode him at until the very last college rodeo. Finally won the short round and won the average or placed second average or something. And then it just kind of clicked from then on and just got better and better.
I love that story. You didn't quit him.
No, I knew he had such a big heart. You could tell that from the beginning how big hearted he was. And I mean, he is that one in a million horse, and I know I'll never own another one like him. And that's, I'm super blessed to get him now, but it's also kind of hard to think about not having another one like that in the future. Like, there's always, I have a yellow horse that's outstanding that we raised, and I have a sorrel horse that I got through a super cool way too. That's a huge blessing to me in my career, but I know I'll never own another monster because not even now I can't even hardly afford to put that much time into one.
So, okay. So
yeah,
we did a bullseye first. So what we want to do in Top 15 Challenge is kind of flatten out that learning curve. Mm-hmm. And I journal. You know, it's part of my daily practice. It helps me mentally, it helps me spiritually. Physically, it probably helps me slow down.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, we want to prevent that learning curve from lasting too long, being too expensive. And we sure don't want it to loop back into a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Of just, you know, burning through horses or burning through bad memories and not get where we want to go. So I felt like our expectations we hear, our experiences here, but I'm so thankful you you waited it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it's really hard because also like I paid $200 for him, so you're like, how much is too much money to spend on a $200 horse? You know, just injecting you costs triple that or quadruple that now, and it's hard to think that you also still have to do that stuff that costs way more than that horse costs to make him get to where he's gonna be, and that's what's hard. Like, yeah, every time I win money on him now, it's way more times whatever I paid for him, but I spent a whole bunch of money on him. It was more than I paid for it before.
And it's the time, guys, that learning curve, right? It takes time to develop talent in ourselves, in yourself, and in your horse. And I'm just that's so inspiring to hear this story because I've quit so many horses. I like the faith, I like the judgment, I like the experience, right? I had the expectations, super high.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back at what I've learned through Stall High, the mentorship program this year, and learning from our other coaches, Ronnie planted. I mean, he's really hard this year because in my mind, I thought it takes a year to make a barrel horse. If they're not gonna, break in that top 50 in a year, then I need to move to the next prospect.
Yeah.
Well, Ronnie corrected my litmus test. So it takes 3 years to seize my horse. 3. See, how many horses did I sell?
Yeah.
Yes, I had to pay bills.
Yeah.
When you do it for a living,
Yeah.
you gotta pay. So, sorry, my heater's on, guys. It's okay. Let me turn this off real quick so you guys don't have interference with sound. But man, I'm just so proud of you for seeing his value early.
Yeah.
And your dad made you pay for him?
Oh, yeah.
How old?
I was thinking I was 12. My dad was a horse trader and an auctioneer. And so my deal was he'd buy these mini ponies and then I would ride them and then break them to ride and stuff. And then when we'd sell them, I'd get a little bit of profit off of it and like build that profit. And then every time I'd just kind of keep collecting that money. And that's what I ended up buying Monster with, was that money, which honestly was a really bad deal because I had way more money collected up but I ended up just trading it straight across for Monster. I just knew I wanted him, and I mean, it paid off. I can't complain now about it, that's for sure.
So that was one of my questions because people want to know, like, how do you finance your rodeo dreams? You started as a youth learning how to fit a pony before you rode big horses, condition it, promote it, add value, make a profit.
That was one of the big things for me when I was younger is my dad traded horses. We had 50 head of horses around all the time. We roped all the time. And I wanted to ride every horse on the place. I wanted to be able to do it on anything and everything. I did not want to ride my good horses. I wanted to ride my good horses at the rodeos and the practice pen and stuff. I wanted to ride everything else. And I think that helped me a bunch now because I have full confidence in getting on another horse at a rodeo that I've never rode before and doing good. And I had to do that this summer when my bay horse was hurt at home and then the star horse got hurt out there and I sent him home. And it was crunch time of the end, the collarbone stuff. And I mean, I was jump riding. I think I rode like 4 of the people's horses that week. And I think that helped me a lot because there's a lot of people that get stuck wanting horses to fit them. And they get where they ride one horse and then you never find that horse again. It's exactly like that.
So good. This is liberating so many people from the loop. Like, I know you feel stuck right now. You wouldn't be watching this if you don't. Taylor, thank you. Oh my gosh. So a lot of us get stuck riding the good horse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did your dad have to tell you, did he have to explain this is good for you if you go ride the ones you don't want to? Or did you personally feel a reward by making those difficult horses better every day? What was your motivation?
I enjoyed it. I did not like riding a horse I didn't like practicing on a horse that knew his job every time and just did it. I liked practicing on a horse that made me ride so that I was bettering myself. My dad had actually drove him insane. He was like, will you please ride your good horses? Will you please, like at the little jackpots, he's like, please stay on your good horse. Don't get on anything else. Just ride the good horses. And I never wanted to. I always wanted to be riding something else and like bettering them, but also I felt like bettering myself because making me a better horseman or more adaptable to a horse. Because I mean, we think about it, how many times we screw up is a lot more often than our horses screw up, but we get like so angry so fast at horses for screwing up. So I wanted to be able to adapt if my horse made a mistake. I wanted to be able to adapt and still be able to make it happen.
So you had an opportunity to start early.
Mhm.
Not everyone did.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some riders watching right now, they'll be catching the replay. They're struggling to comprehend like how to communicate with this animal who does not speak English, right?
Mhm.
So I guess how did you wrap your head around putting yourself in that horse's shoes? How did you handle the frustration when that horse wasn't doing what you asked it to or didn't you didn't get the result as fast as you hoped? That horse didn't match your expectations. How do you handle that disappointment?
I'm pretty good about like I don't hold super high expectations. Like for my young horses and stuff, like Monster, there was no in plan of where he was going to end up. I just knew that like he was going to be one of the best ones I ever rode. And I try not to hold like I do obviously still with some of the ones when they start getting good too fast. Like I have a young one right now that I've completely restarted. Like I thought he was the real deal. He's been to pro rodeos, won money, and now he's completely restarted. I won't enter him anywhere because I went too fast. And yeah, and he was so talented and so athletic and did it so fast. And then I didn't blow him up, but I made him start doing things that were not correct. And then I was getting mad. And then he was like, I'm doing what I thought you wanted me to do. And then we were both getting mad. And then we were just fighting. So we went way rewind, broke it down to the basics, complete basics. I roped with Joe Beaver this winter, and that's actually who was like, I don't know if they're like, maybe you should sell him. And then I run one and he worked like he used to work. And he's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe we should. He's like, you may not ever find another one like that. So maybe you should try fixing first. So I've broken down in a whole year's gone by. And now I haven't started hauling him yet. But when people see him now, they're like, I think I might like that one more than most of the ones you ride. And that's saying a lot because I ride some pretty nice ones. So that's super exciting. But like, I'm not trying to rush. Like, obviously, I'd love to build a hauling next year. But whenever he shows me that he's ready and consistent, and like I'll take him to a jackpot, and if he screws up, I'm just gonna slow right back down.
Okay, thank you. Please slow down. Okay. It's very expensive to go fast.
Yeah.
Because you can make mistakes. So Matt Reeves, he's our mentor on Monday. So every Monday night at Stall High for our interactive level members, Matt Reeves, 8-time national finalist rodeo qualifier, helps people do the math. Treat rodeo, your dream, like a business. And just not like if you look at the price of going fast. I love how you said I don't have a set schedule for him, or I don't know how you said it, like I don't have a set end goal or an end time. That's so hard when horses don't conform to our schedule. Like, well, I only have this one, but you know the payoff.
Yeah.
If you turn him out for a year, or if you just let him chill for a year, you recognize that one individual may not come along for another 10 years.
Yeah.
That's experience. So how can we help them understand the value of going slow?
It's really hard. I mean, it is, but it's also, I feel like, more rewarding because everybody wants to enter and go. So if you don't have a good horse, you can for sure go on. Or your good horse, you can't go as much as you want. So you're trying to rush one to do it. And then all you're doing is fighting the horse, and then you're killing his confidence, which kills your confidence. And then when you ride your good one, you're still not doing good because you have no confidence in riding that one. So my deal is just ride your good ones where you know they're going to do good, and as many places as you can reasonably. And then in the breakaway, you can do it a lot more than like running barrels. You know, you got to be a little more picky, choosy where you ride your horses. But I'm still pretty picky, choosy where I ride my breakaway horses too now that my good ones are getting older. And I think that just if you got a horse that you want to enter more and he's not ready, just practice. I mean, just use him in the practice pit, and then try entering a jackpot. And if it don't work, don't get discouraged. Go back to the practice pit because a practice horse is just as important as a jackpot or rodeo horse. So everything has their place, and a lot of practice horses you'll see out here, like my home partner Sam made the finals on a horse that a year ago she would have never hauled. Didn't even like practicing on him. Started practicing on him. Had hauled him a little bit, didn't like him. Finally took him to 2 rodeos in a row and won money on him. And then once she had the confidence in him, it was just click. Rode him all year, made the finals on him, and is winning nonstop on him. Has more confidence on him than anything else I've seen her ride. So,
Do you mind telling us how old you are?
me, I'm 26.
She's 26. Heather Munsell. Okay, if you're paying attention, if you're taking notes, I'm taking notes. you're going to want to save this, because how many horsemen or people who claim to be horsemen are in the United States alone? Thousands. You add up how many years are in their lifetimes, okay? You may never hear a horseman share as much value as this lady right here at 26 years old. Like, I could cry right now. This is so important, guys. It will change the destination of your career and your dreams if you will rewind and listen and let it soak in. What an amazing opportunity for us to learn from you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I
I'm
enjoyed getting to talk about this stuff.
I'm so like, I'm speechless. I'm so impressed. And I know from spending my lifetime in the saddle, the fact that you have been able to connect these dots so early in life is just amazing.
Yeah, I have to give it credit to the amount of horses, I mean, and stuff that I got to ride and be around. It definitely helps. Because there's a lot of really tough girls that are roping and stuff and coming up that you see them in, they're super tough and they're 16, but they've also rode the same horse since they started roping. And the second that horse goes down, and then you see the confidence crash in them. And like me, I didn't have that. Like when my horse got hurt, when mine got hurt, it was just like, no, ride whatever else is there, whoever's going to let me get on. Like I was used to it already. And I feel like that's a lot. Like if parents can help their kids kind of just get on some other horses and stuff, it definitely helps in the long run.
How much does faith factor in? Let's talk about the spiritual side of things, because yes, we want to remove the mental block in our horses, in ourselves, but sometimes when we really like start peeling back the layers, there's a spiritual kink somewhere. Things aren't flowing. So tell us about your faith. How much does that factor in to who you are and what you do?
It factors in a lot, and I know a lot of people, it's like when they're down, they feel like they say all the time that when you're in your lows, that's when you're like the most praying and talking to God. And then when you get high, you kind of forget about it. And I'm honestly almost the opposite, because when I'm high, I'm like, thank you for everything you blessed me with. And then when I get low, that's when I like back away, because it's like, have I not been doing enough for the Lord to like deserve to win? And that's obviously not how that works at all. That's like my own battle, because that's not how any of that works. But it means a lot, and it helps a lot to be around other people that are the same, that are strong in their faith. And that's huge, super important, especially when we get out there rodeo on the road, because we don't get to go to church. And a lot of those rodeos don't have church services, very rarely do they. Or you're not there when they do, or you're driving all night. So it's super important to still like make the time to do those things. And it's helped a lot, like driving. I've tried to put that time in with like the podcast and driving at night and stuff definitely helps. And then it's not good to be superstitious, like the Bible says you shouldn't be. So I've turned any superstition I had, because I had a bunch, into like that I pray. Like if I feel myself like if you see a shooting star and they say make a wish, well, I say a prayer. If I see 11:11 make a wish, I say a prayer instead, and just like thank God for everything I have. I don't need to make a wish for something more. I just want to be thankful for what I have.
Oh, Lori's back there behind the camera going, I have chills. Yeah, I do too. Look at that. Can you see that? So good. Wow. Like, we've been blessed to introduce some amazing champions, just amazing riders. That's why we're doing Top 15 Challenge, so that people who can't be here in person can glean world champion wisdom from wherever they're at, from their device. And I mean, wow, you have blessed us so far and above what our expectations were today. We're just
thank
like
you.
forever
I'm glad
grateful.
to do it.
What can we do for you? What are your commitments, or like business? You have any horses for sale? Like what can we do to help you?
Honestly, like I said, I'm super blessed. I can't think of anything right now. I mean, I always have horses for sale or know people. Like I try to help people get connected with the right horses. And that's one of my biggest things. Is I'm also super thankful that every horse I've had come through me is, so far as I know, I keep in touch with everybody that buys a horse through me, and it's all ended up very well. Like I won't sell a horse to someone I don't think is going to make it work. So, I mean, if anybody, I do have horses for sale always, or know of them if I don't have what you're looking for. But I'm super blessed, and very happy with what I have right now. So I'm not got a lot of asks right now.
Okay. Well, yeah. Do you have a podcast, or you just like to listen to podcasts?
I just listen to them. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna have to put our hats together and think on that one. Okay, so let's take some questions. Anybody on the live right now that has a question, that if you upgraded, so when you signed in at top15challenge.com, if you haven't done that yet, go right now, top15challenge.com. You can register for free. That way you'll get notified every time we get a champion rider, a top rider in here to share their wisdom with you. You also have a chance to win this saddle. That's the grand prize. It's free to enter, top15challenge.com. When you upgrade, when you invest in your own career, right, and your horse, that's called the Cactus VIP Backstage Pass. So you'll have an opportunity to win an extreme gel pad every day of the finals. We're going to give away lanyard bit, some stall eyes. We've got some really awesome Montana silversmith. Well, it's a piece of equipment that ropers really should keep on them, you know.
They really should.
Yeah.
I've been in situations where I've needed them.
Mm-hmm. And they're pretty, real pretty. Thank you, Marhow. So we're careful about, you know, labeling it just because we are leveraging other social media platforms. So they have keyword searches in their algorithm.
Oh yeah.
But it's a nice little tool. So if you want to be registered for that, take the upgrade Cactus Backstage Pass. Then you will get the actual Zoom link, and you have an opportunity to potentially get your personal questions answered. Lori, question today?
What are some of your favorite podcasts?
Oh my, some of my favorite podcasts. I kind of have mixed feelings with the so I know I don't necessarily buy Nike stuff, but Nike has a sports podcast with their trainers and athletes and stuff, and it is outstanding. It ranges everything from taking care of your body, recovering from injuries, your mental game, your faith. It covers everything, and I listen to that one a whole bunch. And there are a bunch of a lot of the motivational guys. I listen to pretty much all of them. I can't even think. Caught me with the question, and then it caught me off guard. But if you really want to know, you can message me or message them, and I'll get them the answers to those. Because get us in touch the right way, and when I'm not caught off guard with the question, I'll know the names. I'm terrible with names. Sorry.
That's all good. Anybody else?
Well, there's one other question. One question you answered literally right after she typed it in. So that was awesome. The other one is, what kind of saddle do you ride?
What kind of saddle do you ride?
I ride Usher.
Okay, tell us about that.
They come to me. I actually won one of their saddles, and I thought they were just barrel saddles, so I was gonna get a barrel saddle made just because I didn't have one, in case I ever decided to start running barrels, I guess. And I talked to them, and then they called me, and they're like, "Hey, would you be interested in a custom fitness saddle for Monster instead?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "We'll do all the upgrades and everything. If you'll ride it, we'll custom fit it. We'll upgrade it to whatever you want." And I was like, "Oh, absolutely, that's awesome," because he's terribly hard to fit because his shoulders are this wide, and then he gets narrower. So I took him. They fitted him to a saddle. It's actually a barrel modified saddle, so it's single started like a barrel saddle, but has a rope and swell and horn on it. So it's short enough for him because he's so little, and it makes it super light. And I loved that saddle. And then they're super great people. They stayed in contact with me afterwards, and they ended up signing me to the team and fit a saddle to all my horses now, and they just take outstanding care of me. And I love their saddles. They're so comfortable. I can ride them all day.
Sweet. I think some people often overlook, we're being hard on ourselves, and we don't even realize it's not us, it's our equipment. So maybe your equipment, how am I going to say this? I'm going to try to, it's hard to filter sometimes. I help some people. We see some people come through and they're lacking confidence and they feel like they suck as a rider. And all it is a change of a saddle pattern or the change of a saddle. So how have you experienced that in equipment change?
Oh, very significantly. I actually used to run barrels a lot. I made high school nationals in the barrel racing and did good at IFR and stuff before I ever did good in the breakaway. And I actually quit running barrels for a while because I could not get a horse to turn the second barrel. I completely run one horse. And my parents were just on me that it was me. Finally, I'm selling my barrel saddle. And when I go to sell it and trade it, I took it somewhere to trade it in, and they go like this and your tree's broke. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, your tree's broken, this barrel saddle. I'm like, we never checked it because it's a barrel saddle. We never even thought to check the tree in it. And the tree had been broken. And the second I got a new saddle and started riding it, everything was perfectly fine. Ended up making high school nationals and doing all in Oklahoma, which is tough. And like, I mean, that was just one thing should have checked that didn't, never even crossed our mind to check. And another thing now with riding with the amount of young kids and stuff I get to ride with is just the simple fact of changing a bit. I see that so often with people that just don't know. And I understand because there's so many bits out there and I feel like I know a lot. And I still look at bits and I'm like, what does that do? And then I can ask the bit maker and they honestly may not even actually know what it does. And I'm like, that kind of, and I'm like, well, can you put me in contact with anybody that's rode the bit that could tell me what it might do? Because sometimes bits that you would think, like I know a lot of people, they see like a solid mouthpiece bit and they're like, oh, that's huge. And I'm like, not really, because it doesn't break, it doesn't hit anything. It's like, it's all in your hands for one. But if you're heavy-handed, you needed to ride a light bit. Somebody light-handed gets on that horse, he may need a completely different bit. So I see that a lot with parents. They're like, this is what I ride on him. And then they put their kid on him and they don't put on. I'm like, there's a little difference in 6-year-old kid and an adult.
Would you like help with that?
Yeah.
You have clicked on the right place, guys. Top 15 challenge. Come to Stall High. The Stall High app is for people, if you feel like you're on the struggle bus with your horse and you're not sure what to do next. We have a product called Review My Ride. It's a video analysis. Like if you want to check your equipment, that's why we developed the mentorship program at Stall High, so that you have an opportunity to learn from an expert team of mentors. You can ask a professional coach 5 nights a week at Stall High, and we're growing. So we absolutely want to add more coaches. I would absolutely love to have you in front of a camera more often so that we can learn from you and learn more about breakaway roping, because quite frankly, that's something I've never felt like I was good at, so I never pursued it. But man, you make us all want to now.
Yeah, and I like that's adding it to pro rodeo. It's definitely made the platform bigger for everybody. Like I know a lot of girls are pro rodeo, but you don't have to now. Like us pro rodeoing has made it where more people can amateur rodeo, because we're not in the amateur rodeos no more. And then it's just kind of made it where we moved out of the way so more people can keep going and do it competitively at the levels below pro rodeo. And pro rodeo if you want to. You can even circuit rodeo now for the breakaway ropers, which is awesome because everywhere is having a circuit finals. And you can qualify to all the circuit national finals, I think called the NFR Open now and stuff. So it's getting big, and I think it's growing where a lot of people that didn't feel they couldn't rope with the LD and jackies and them, they have somewhere to go now because they don't have to compete against them every time.
Okay, tell us about Rope for the Crown. What's going on?
They're
What's
having
going on here?
Rope for the Crown. It's with Chris Neal's, Jackie and Chris, I think, originally started it. It's what they started is when they wouldn't have an actual world champion, they're like, we're gonna have this to crown the best and say this is your world champion. So they select people from associations, and it's like you have to win a big roping that's a part of it, or like your amateur associations. And then if you win that, you get an invite to this, and then you get to come to Vegas and rope in this awesome roping. Pays outstanding. I was rodeoing this year, so.
How much does it pay? So some people don't know.
I think last year the girl won like, I want to say like 16,000, a little less. Like it has 20,000, 25,000 added.
Okay.
I didn't qualify this year, so I actually didn't pay that much attention to it. There's a last chance qualifier yesterday. I tried to qualify in. This summer, I mostly rodeoed, and my horsepower was very lacking because my bay horse was hurt and my sorrel horse was hurt. So I only had the yellow, and he's not exactly young. So I didn't enter a lot of ropings. I tried to make sure I got the finals made and stuff. So I didn't get qualified this year, but this first year I haven't qualified, and I'm not happy about it. So I for sure won't let that happen again. But I plan to be back next year for open, and it's an outstanding open.
What can you tell us about this setup at the core arena here at the plaza? Because I think it's pretty cool. Like the national finals that's the pinnacle for us, right? But you have all of these other awesome events now, and producers coming to Vegas during the national finals rodeo. There's just so much activity going on. This town is flooded with horses and cowboy hats and boots and jeans.
Yeah, they make it where they almost make it worth coming now. Like there's enough good ropings that used to when it was just one rope, and it was kind of hard to talk yourself into driving this far, even if it paid good. The odds of you winning money and stuff is like, do I drive that far and spend that much money in Vegas to be there? And if you're here, you want to obviously experience it, and then you already got your fees up, and then if you don't win money, you kind of go inside. Well, now there's enough where you're not entering just one rope, so your chances are multiplied. Like you got multiple ropings out here, and it gives you a reason to come experience Vegas and get to go to the NFR and stuff for more than just flying out here going to the rodeo.
So what do you think about this arena, the core arena here at the plaza? What's it like?
I like this arena. They've made it better every year. I feel like the stalling situation, the parking, everything. I've come since the first time I rode for the Crown, and I feel like everything's gotten better every time I come. And the setup is perfect for this roping. I mean, I think they work really well with Chris to set the whole thing up and be very easy and usable and accessible for all the people, because there's some really big rigs pulling in and out of here, and it's not easy down here on the strip or on Fremont and stuff, like to get it done, and they do a good job, I feel like.
Yeah, so we definitely, our hats off to the plaza, to everyone making it happen. Even just building the core arena right here in downtown, old town Las Vegas. They're bending over backwards for us, for cowboys and cowgirls. They like our lifestyle. They want to be included, and I think you just hit the bullseye by saying every year they get better. They offer more. Like the plaza itself, it changes every year I come here, because they're constantly upgrading and renovating and adding and bringing more and more and more for us people who rodeo. So I'm very
Pizza's really good.
Pop-up pizza's good.
It's very good.
You know what we like? Have you tried the taco bar yet?
I haven't tried it yet. I heard it was really good. My dad said they've been like 3 times since they've been here, so
I eat there pretty much every day when I stay at the plaza, because it's a lot healthier and it's way cheaper. So yesterday I tried the chicken tortilla soup, and should have tried it sooner because it's really good. Yes. Taylor Munsell, you were just a breath of fresh air. Thank you so much. Thank you for being part of Top 15 Challenge. If you haven't entered yet, you can sign up for free, top15challenge.com. I'm Kendra Dixon with Taylor Munsell, coming at you live from the Plaza Hotel in Las Vegas, inside of this gorgeous Murhow trailer. If you want to know more about Murhow, keep following top15challenge.com, and we will see you in the next video. We are here to challenge you. Come join us. Let's rodeo anxiety free in 2020.